And so I had a profound experience in Kruger with the elephant.
Yeah?
Yeah. 2 days before I was going in, David, one of the game rangers, guides was going to take me in, so we were having dinner. And he said, well, do you have your cameras? And, we'll take you in and get a picture of the big five. And I went, well, I'm not bringing a camera. So what do you mean? What are you doing then? Well, I said, I've come to talk to the animals. He said, are you crazy? What? How can you do that?
Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was a childhood dream, Dr.
Yeah.
Doolittle and James Herriot, right? So he challenged me after a glass of red wine, I must say. Then, can you talk to them right now? And I said, sure. He says, well, then what's showing up to talk to you? So I linked in with the park, and an elephant came forward. And he said,
just up to the
in
camp?
my imagination.
Okay. Yeah?
And so in my imagination, this elephant said, me and 4 others, there's going to be 5 bachelors are coming to meet you, and we need to talk to you. It's very important. So when we come, don't be afraid. So I told David, and he laughed.
I think as most people would.
Yeah.
Well, of course,
Yeah,
right? And so the next day we took off at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. And as we got to the park gates, he just starts going, what? And I went, what are you talking about? He says, there's an elephant blocking the gate. And he says, do you think it's the one that you talked to? And I said, well, I don't know. We'll have to wait till we get there. 2 years ago, there was an elephant that was ripping it apart because the marula fruit has a lot of vitamin C. And so then the day after he ripped it apart, we came back and we stood around it. And probably one of the most purest healing energies I've ever felt was from this tree trying to heal itself from what the elephant had done. So as we got there, the elephant moved away. So as we were paying for the registration, I looked around. There was 5 elephants, but there was a mother and a young one. And so I asked the elephant, it's not you, is it? He says, no, we've come as representatives to welcome you. Right? Like, sometimes you think we've got such a huge ego, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then David said, well, if you can really talk to them, then ask that elephant where we should go next. So I said to the young male elephant, I said, well then, where would you suggest we go next? It's a huge park. And so my imagination, he says, well, you should go to the long red road with the big bright rock. There's someone waiting for you. So I said this to David, I haven't never been in a park before. And he goes, oh, I know where that is, about 15-minute drive. He says, can we go? And I said, like, sure. So we get up the long red road, and of course there was a big lioness waiting up there. So we'd spent the whole day asking the animals where we should go next. But no elephant. No elephant, right?
Yeah.
Except at about 10 to 6, our Land Rover broke down, so we couldn't get out of the park. So we spent 2 hours sitting in the Land Rover in a storm waiting for a ride out. So the next day we had to go back in a small car. So off we go. We stop for lunch. After lunch, something makes both of us stand up and go. Get in the car, drive to a dam, nothing there. We sit there for a few minutes. We're just thinking, well, I guess it's time to go. And the next thing you know, way off in the distance, there comes this huge old elephant, big long tusk, right? So I'm just looking, and that's cool. Another one, another one, another one. And all of a sudden I click in. I went, oh my God, there's 5 elephants. And so I say to the elephant across the dam, I said, I can't believe it's you. If it's really you, will you come over here? He goes, well, we'll have to have our bath first, but we'll come over. So I said, I'll wait all day. So about 10 minutes later, they finish their bath, and they start lumbering over across the dam. And so anytime I'm working with animals or nature, I'll always leave them escape route, right? I won't block it in. So I had asked David to park so there was a route along the dam, but of course a tourist came and blocked it.
Yeah.
So now this old guy broke off from the 4 as he got close, and he was heading towards us. And so I sent him a message. I said, please, can you meet me on the road, because there's no place for you to escape. So he said, sure. He stopped, and he turned around. He went into the trail. So we got on the road, and he met us on the road. You know, he stood in front of the car, like from here to the tree away, and rumbled and talked and stared at me and talked. And I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And he talked and he talked. And David started taking pictures. I said, please don't take pictures. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, yeah.
So, my perception of his message at that time was, you must speak more about what the animal kingdom is doing. You must not be so silent, and you must share and teach more people.